Hi, everyone, and welcome to our Solution Showcase. I'm Anna. For those who don't know, Aero.NextGen connects aviation companies with softwares and service providers through our aviation technology marketplace. I'm joined today by Omi Diaz from Level 350 by Diaz and Cooper. Hi, Omi. Welcome, and
Hi.
thank you for joining us today.
Hi, thank you. I'm super excited to share today.
Me too. I'm excited to see. So, would you like to briefly introduce Level 350 by Diaz and Cooper?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Level 350 grew out of my love of aviation. I first became enamored with aviation when I went on a solo flight when I was a kid. I even wrote a blog post about it. So, I've loved working with aviation companies ever since. And Level 350 is our brand new branded practice specifically for MROs, parts suppliers, aftermarket support firms, and so that's the folks that we help the best. And we're super excited to launch Level 350 and our products to solve a lot of those issues that they're having in their commercial operations.
That's great. Thank you for the overview. Now let's take a look at the solution itself. I'll hand over to you. So whenever you want to start sharing.
All right, let me share my screen. And so this solution was born out of the frustration that we saw with a lot of aviation companies, where they are having really good conversations on the trade show floor, but they don't really have a shared system to capture who they spoke to, what was discussed. And so a lot of those great leads that they're capturing go dead, right? And the truth is that trade shows are an expensive element of their go-to market strategy, right? It costs a lot of money to get a booth, to travel, to send your reps there, sometimes from all over the world. And so it makes sense to have a repeatable CRM-driven revenue process so those conversations get connected to a clear next step in a pipeline, right? So what happens is that a lot of times the companies get bogged down because they have manual systems. They end up with a handful, sometimes hundreds of business cards, right? In a drawer or in, one of the reps' backpacks. And then someone has to sit there and manually enter stuff, or they're all ad hoc. Everyone's just kind of like following up ad hoc based on what they remember, right? But not only does this cause them to lose sometimes the sale, because a lot of times the customer just is going to go with whoever answers them first and follows up first, right? So not only could they be losing opportunities, but they also have no marketing attribution. So marketing can't prove the ROI of the event sales, and the sales leader can't see which shows are actually moving the needle, right? So we want to make sure that we solve that with our product called TradeGrow. And with TradeGrow, it connects the trade shows directly in HubSpot. It automates lead capture and makes it really simple. It triggers workflows, right? We've seen users achieve up to a 10-to-1 ROI by using TradeGrow, because it just helps automate everything and make the tracking, the follow-ups, and the dashboard seamless. So our system works in 3 steps, right? There's the pre-event power up, there's the during event execution, and then there's what we call the post-event profit. So let's get started with step 1. So step 1 is really prepping for success. You define your goals in revenue and pipeline terms. It includes an events object and a tracking structure in your CRM to connect those events to contacts, companies, and deals, and revenue influenced. You can create event-specific landing pages, meeting booking links, and when you run targeted outreach, it's not just come see us at the booth, it's pre-book a meeting, and making sure that we're prepped for the event fully. So this just shows a couple of the KPIs that are very typically measured for events, right? Increasing brand awareness, strengthening relationship with key customers or key partners and vendors, influencing target accounts, creating new quotes or orders from existing or new clients, right? And generating revenue overall. So on the left-hand side is those goals, and then on the right is the actual KPIs that are measurable inside of your CRM. So it's pretty powerful stuff. So I'm gonna kind of dive in with a couple of screenshots of how the platform works. So this shows the event object. And then you can see that you can look at what kind of type of event it is, whether you're sponsoring, whether you're just attending, whether you have a booth, you have a drop down there. You can put in how much it cost you to go to the event. So then the system can calculate your ROI on the event. And then you'll see that it starts associating contacts, companies, and deals to that event object. Next on the pre-event cycle is sending out those campaign elements. So anything that you do to promote your attendance at the event, whether it's emails, social media, whether it's those meeting links, or even a landing page, which I'll show you an example in a second, all of it is associated to that event campaign. So that way you can measure your total, all of the activities associated with promoting the event. So here's a couple of examples. So on the left, you see a typical landing page where people can put that up in their social media and people can go to a landing page and then pick who they want to meet with and actually pre-book a meeting. I'm super excited. You can see my meeting link here for MRO Americas. I already have 4 meetings pre-booked. Doesn't sound like much, but it's our first year doing this for us. So it's super exciting. And you can see that it's all done right through the system. And then you have the magic of workflows, right? And so this is our workflow that not only routes the leads to the right people, but also starts pre-populating all of that pre-event information and activity into the event object. And of course, as always, we want to make sure that people are fully comfortable with it. So we do have an entire guide for how to implement, how to use this, and how to use it over and over again for all of your shows. So then phase 2 is the during event execution. So this is where the magic happens at the trade show itself, right? You're going to use a mobile capture with the app, and that's going to push the data directly into HubSpot, right? So you can have any qualification fields that you want, like interest, time frame, role, et cetera, and it's all automatically inputted into the CRM from the scan, or quickly from notes that the reps can put into that contact record, at the event, so they don't forget the context, right? This triggers an immediate and personalized nice to meet you email while they're still sitting there at the booth. So obviously they can put a delay on it if they prefer to wait 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 days, whatever. But I think it's really cool to have it right then and there, start the conversation immediately. And it impresses, because not many people are doing this, right? So it impresses the prospects. And of course, it tags all the contacts to that specific event, so you can report later on deals and revenue influence and not just a generic list. So again, a couple of screenshots of the app, how it looks on the mobile device, the workflows behind the magic of lead routing, and how it triggers enrollment of the contacts into the different sequences. And this is an example of one of the during show emails that can go out immediately once that business card is scanned. And then post-event, personalized nurture. We've all gotten those, hey, it was great to see you at MRO America's generic blast. Those have about a 2% open rate, whereas a personalized nurture email has up to a 12% or more open rate. I've seen more than that, but our signature case study, they went from 2% to 12% by using this system. So it's really important to really have a personalized post-event nurture, and you don't have to have your marketing department go nuts trying to export lists, trying to get business cards from everybody just to launch the email. It all happens seamlessly and automatically. And so this is an example of what that post-event workflow can look like. And then we have an example of what the metrics for it can be, right? So here you see everything from when we first enrolled them into the email sequence, how many opened, how many clicked, et cetera, et cetera. So you can benchmark yourself against other emails that you may have sent out in the past. But of course, the most important part is measuring ROI. When the CFO or the CEO or the owner comes to you and goes, "Hey, we spent 30, 50, or $50,000 attending this event," sometimes a lot more, right? What ROI did we get out of it? You don't want to be there saying, "Oh, well, a bunch of people picked up our pens," right? You want to be able to have true dashboards with revenue and pipeline specific KPIs and show them like, look, yes, we spent 30,000, but there's over $500,000 of influence deals in the pipeline right now, right? So this is what some of our activity and performance dashboards look like. So we have campaign analytics, influence contacts, we can do influence deal. We can also, if your ERP or your accounting system is connected, we can also do actual revenue that was influenced, right? And then of course, deal amount by sales team. So you can see, which rep did which deals. And as a whole, if you have different teams, like let's say you have different teams by region, you can see how each region's teams performed as well. And then really importantly, you can measure one event against another. So when you're looking next year, should we invest in this one and this one and that one? You can look back and say, well, we got a lot more deals out of, let's say MRO Americas than name some other show, right? So you can make more intelligent decisions as to how much money and effort. Most people think, oh, I have to go to every event. And maybe that's true, but maybe you just put a little bit more investment and effort into the ones that really produce and maybe not quite as much into some of the others. So that's basically it. That's the three-phase system that has transformed results for marketers across industries. But for aviation specifically, it's been working fabulous. So it can help you, like I said, capture leads in 3 minutes. You can convert a lot more leads than you did before, generate up to 6 times more revenue because it's also attributable. So you generated it there, or at least it was influenced there. And you can walk into the boardroom or to your, CEO's office with proof that those events drove revenue. So I'm gonna just stop sharing there and see if you have any questions on it.
Thank you so much, Omi, for sharing. I've been to a few MRO events, and this will be like so helpful. I wish we knew this before.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the overview and for walking us through this today. It was really valuable to see how real workflows operate, not just hear about them in theory, but actually see how it works. Would you like to say anything before we wrap up?
No, I was going to say that you're right. This isn't just theory, and we have, actual case studies to back up the ROI. So I'm super excited to bring this, and I'm going to be demoing it live at MRO Americas. So yeah, I'm excited for that. Yep.
And thank you so much, everyone, for watching. If your team is preparing for upcoming trade shows and looking for better ways to manage leads, automate follow-ups, and improve conversation rates, this is definitely a space worth investing in. If you'd like to learn more about Level 350 or Aero.NextGen, feel free to ask us a question or walk us on the website. Thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you in the next Solution Showcase. Bye-bye.
Thank you. See you at the show.